Hi, it's Xavier. Welcome to, what is it, episode 7 or 8 of Bonsai for Breakfast or Bonsai Bits or whatever meal you're having. But today it's action-packed. There should be 2 or 3 really interesting segments. Love this, getting really official now. Oh, that's Katerina doing some washing up just when I'm filming.
About time.
The first of it is going to be the repot of this European olive. And as you know, I like to do my olive repots in the middle of summer. The ones I did last year, the year before, really came out well. But that won't be all to keep your taste buds salivating, so to speak. We're also going to have a look at my first ever homemade root over rock Chinese Elm. Just do a little bit of pruning back to profile. But that's not all. I'm also, in response to a couple of questions, going to take you again through my setup procedure. The camera that I use, and perhaps some of the difficulties I encounter while just trying to film in the Bonsai Retreat. And I may even get an opportunity to whisk you through again a host of photographs that have come in from yourselves, some of which just put me to shame in terms of bonsai skills. But hey, that's what this community is all about, shaming Xavier. No, seriously, and I know there may be a few of you who are interested in just how this great big Yamadori silver birch is getting on. But I'm sorry, you're going to have to hit bell notifications, select all, so you get alerted when a year in the life of this troublesome tree actually comes out. But anyway, should we crack on? I've just found something else. I've got a sage, little Mame one, beautiful bit of movement on it. It's got great purple flowers, and I thought I'd show them to you before I cut them off.
You're a monster.
Absolutely glorious, but you know what? I think I'll have to say timber. To be fair, I always get surprised when I wander around the retreat looking to see what I'm going to do next. Let's get rid of anything that's dead. We'll just let that go, and hopefully we'll get something sprouting from lower down. Lovely, really. Anyway, that's not getting the olive repotted. Well, after getting distracted by that little flowering sage, here it is. Now, for those of you who've been with my channel for a while, you'll know that that's the sound of muscle flexing. Yeah, you'll know that I had a great big 3-foot bubble, so you know, the classic ornamental garden centre olives, and as part of my air layering extravaganza last year, maybe the year before actually, I put an air layer on this one, and in fact it was back in 22 I think, because I then followed that up with what happens when you put your separated air layer into sphagnum moss over winter. And in my case, what happens is you kill all the roots. So the successful air layer then was subsequently killed by maltreatment. Definitely maltreatment when I put it in sphagnum moss. But here it is. I've got something growing really nice. It's going to be a classic broom, but it's about time we got it out of this and put it into a bit more of a non-organic, what am I going for? Zeolite, pumice, and a bit of akadama. Olives, certainly I've discovered, respond quite happily to a midsummer repot. Notice that there's actually quite a lot of that liverwort getting around here, and the liverwort is a massively good sign of bad things happening. Good sign, bad? Is that double? I don't know. But it's just basically telling the soil is far too wet, not draining enough, and it's giving optimum conditions for that horrible fungusy type stuff to grow. Now the other thing olives want, which they don't often get in the UK, which is why we get such slow growth and can't possibly compete with Aussie Bonsai Bloke. He gets his great Aussie weather, and Sam's olives obviously thrive out there. So yeah, so the UK, I find I struggle to get really rapid growth with my olives, but the challenge is there still, and as you know from probably that video there, I've been slowly developing them. Okay, well that was extremely muddy, and what I've discovered is that we've definitely got 2 layers of roots. So I will just remove a couple of these outliers. Which will suit me down to the ground, because I want to grow a root base close to the base. So get rid of that. I'm not going to do a total root decimation, so to speak. Probably don't want those, but it's got some nice healthy roots on it. Definitely don't want that. It's not a total and utter root prune, root clean. I will probably leave these 2-3 years, concentrate on the upper growth, and then may well come back in, potentially remove a couple more of the upper ones. But as I say, I'm still learning with olive, so I was really brutal the last time I did this a couple of years ago. It took a while for them to recover. This one, I'm going to leave it a bit more of its legs, so to speak, and see what happens. So let's get this in. Guess what? Pond basket. That's a pond basket. That's the tree. And get it nicely dug into there. Again, like always, we do want to make sure that we even now start getting that mix into the underneath. Okay, that's in there nicely enough. Now what I will do is just remove a few low leaves that I don't want. Upward branches I'm quite happy to let continue to grow up, but where I've got sideward growth, I'm just going to bring it back a little bit. I'm still learning how these really respond to pruning at different stages of the year, and you know, so far there've been no major blunders, but where some people might say, oh, you can go a lot harder at this time of year, I'm going to be conservative. But I also still am very aware that I want to have enough growth on this that, you know, the roots one can maintain what's already on here, but there's also enough here to bring in that light and energy that we need for better root development. So having a look at branch orientations, class examples here, 1, 2, 3. Probably I'd want to remove the center one, but for now I've got a nice one coming up here, so I'll remove that one. Again, up here 3, so got one coming across. I'll probably remove that one. And then just these little cross ones, I'm just shortening them off a bit. And again, the other good thing is, what I am also doing is clearing it out, because these two get bugs and all sorts in them. Alright, well that's about as far as I'm going to go, and all that's left to do is to give it a darned good watering. Should we do that now? And then I'll repeat that a couple more times, make sure all the grit and sort of fine grained stuff has dropped out the bottom, and then I'm going to put that somewhere nice in the garden that to begin with will get lots of sunlight, probably hold off the midday sun, and bring that in a couple more weeks time once those roots have hopefully started establishing. But it does want sun. Before we do that Chinese elm, let's deal with the question about my filming area, my camera, and just generally why it is that I pick here and what some of the problems I have, because you certainly know that I don't always go bareheaded. Right now it's about, I don't know, 11:30 in the morning, and that creates the first of the problems that will be coming up, and I'll show you what it is. But let's get the screen up first, because you're used to the blue screen, aren't you? About the only issue with the blue screen is I have to make sure it lines up with the slats on the back trellis. Otherwise, it's amazing when you're doing the editing how distracting it be when the screen looks kilted angle. I've got a little couple of set of plastic clamps, which I just clamp to this. And that's the blue screen up. got my stool, which I bought with probably one of the first set of funds I got from the ad payments from Google, so thank you for that. And already you'll have noticed it squeaks a lot because don't know if you can see, but in here the whole base is cracked. Cat says it's because I'm too fat, but hey, who knows.
Body shaming isn't cool.
So I'm going to need a new stool. I'll also bring with me my turntable and me box of tools, my box of goodies, which has got all sorts of stuff in there. And then normally it's just about understanding from the shadows on the ground, it's a helicopter, where the how long I've actually got for this particular segment, because there are different parts of the garden I need to be. But I always make sure I've got a couple of ready tools, always have my pointer out, in case I'm doing anything with the wire, cutters, and before I start filming, you know I'll talk about it. I've got my 80 grit sand block. I will just double check to make sure that any yucky gunk is off the blades. Always need a toothbrush. So then I'll find my tree, set it up. And in this case, as you know, it's going to be the Chinese Elm root on rock, which I started 8-9 years ago now in a lovely Dawn Isaac ceramic. So is that the only thing I'm considering right now? Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, how far away is that camera? Now, I'll generally have my old tripod. This is last year's tripod that I had. Didn't spend more than, I think I bought this for £14 off Amazon. It's got a little adapter for the phone there, and as it's got older, I've needed a little clamp for my height adjustment on the camera stand and where I put it. And this is normally pretty close to here. Distance between there and there is probably no more than about 7 foot. And the biggest bugbear I have is normally when I'm adjusting it, lining the camera up, I'm just trying to get it right so you get enough of a picture and angle, and it doesn't matter how many times I've done this. Those of you who know what's going to happen next, put something down in the comments right now. I'll get it all set up, get ready, hit record, and then come out and then knock the legs over because it's so close to here. Clumsy idiot. Now right now you can clearly see there's a sun shadow going right across there, and it's just started to encroach on where the camera will be. And one thing I've got to be aware of is I don't want the sun glaring straight into the camera. So I tend to do my filming when it suits where the sun is.
Are you asleep yet?
And of course, in the first year I was filming, and probably halfway through the second, I was here. And this was Xavier down the bottom of the garden. And I hope to be here again by now, because again, it allows me greater opportunity with filming, depending on where the sun is. Completely covered from the rain, and it allows me an extra angle, an extra place to do filming. And you're probably going to see more of that in later episodes, definitely in 2025. And just to highlight how this conditions can change for filming so quickly, it's literally been 5 minutes in that period that I went down and showed you the alternate filming area. We've already got the sun encroaching across here. So even though I have these timing periods, as the sun gets higher in the sky or lower in the sky, that will alter this dramatically. So I've probably got 10 minutes of filming here. So the camera I use, it's a Panasonic DMC FZ 330 Lumix 4K compatible camera. It comes in a box just like this, and I've been using that since I started, and it was the best ever investment I made. And slowly I've actually been learning how to use it. You've seen me with a mic that came from Alex Braunton, thank you Alex, and that's a little wireless mic which I'll use sometimes when I'm doing on-set interviews and stuff like that. But otherwise I've got a woolly boom mic. So yes, that basically covers the equipment I've got. Actually, does anybody need a little breakfast break? Because between you and me, I'm getting just a wee bit bored. Should we go and have a look at some subscriber photographs instead? Because I've got a whole bunch that have been sent in to me over the last sort of 5 weeks. So why don't we head over to Subscribers Corner, shall we? First of all, we've got Gus. He's got his cherry, large, mugo pine, maple and beech, and all there on a really nice display bench. So thanks Gus. Joe regularly brings stuff in. He's got a new sign made by his son over his area with some ivy and a Crassia sarcocolus, which we're going to see more of in a future episode. He's also got olive in a John Pitt pot. John, he's got his root on rock project, but we see how he secures it. Looks like it's a hinoki. Chris, he's obviously working on his maples and getting the wire on. And then Nellie, who sponsored one of the benches, she's got 4 different olives on display here, and there's also this interesting little forest clump. But what is the purple flower? Does anybody know? Roger actually sent in pictures of Ray Nesky's big trident maple in the ground. Very impressive. And Sharon, who's another regular from the channel, she's got her forest fire inspired landscape. Incredible. I'm not sure the variety of the trees though. Trevor, he's got this big monster trident maple stump project on the go. And there's also another one he pulled out that had a Jerusalem artichoke stuck in the roots. Victor, he's working on 2 of his nursery stock maples. Again, a little bit of wiring being put on. And then we've got Walt with an impressive 33-year-old seed to bonsai ulmus. Incredible. Then we've got Carlos with his air layer olive. Darren sent me in pictures of his azalea, the Duchess, in full bloom. And then Una has got her little Mame in a beautiful espresso cup. Then we've got Andrew, who mentioned that he took an air layer off a Mugo. Now, I didn't know that was possible. And if you can see from the pictures, there's obviously lots of candidates there from that big 6-foot tree. But yeah, very interesting to see how that's going to progress. So thanks very much to everyone who sent in their pictures, and remember, if you want to see your pictures featured, then I'll normally pick out between 3 or 4 of them, send them to expressionsbonsai@gmail.com, and probably every 4 to 5 weeks, when I've got enough of a selection, it'll air on Bonsai for Breakfast or somewhere like that. But guess what? You want to get back to the main breakfast menu, don't you? And find out all about my sunburn and how I deal with it. Now, the other thing you'll be aware of, if you've watched a few of my videos, you know that from last year my skin got really sensitive. So if I'm in shirt sleeves, you know I'm filming in the morning, but if you see me, I mean, it's 30 degrees today, I will shortly be putting my long sleeve shirt on, which normally looks like a tablecloth, either a red tablecloth or a blue tablecloth, and I'll be absolutely covering myself in this Beauty of Joseon sun cream. Find the Koreans do really good sun cream, and I'll slap that all on before I do my filming on my bonsai. That's a big shout out to Candice, formerly of Bonsai Science, probably still of Bonsai Science, but is busy in the female bodybuilding type world. For those of you who haven't switched off, that's the question answered. Hope that's helped those of you who are interested. Let's crack on with the tree, shall we? Now, this Chinese elm has certainly featured in a number of videos, and you've seen me pruning it and stuff like that. All I'm going to do now, middle of summer, is just weed lightly around the tops here. Again, just check and see if there's anything that is causing me any concern. I love the way the roots are on this, absolutely brilliant. But basically I'm going to do a pruning to profile. And for anyone who has Chinese elm, you know traditionally this is the issue with them. They'll grow grey big long shoots, and that's absolutely no good to anyone. And what I want is that shoot down there. So I could prune it all the way back to here. There's a couple of buds there, but they're still only, they might put out horizontal growth that way. But really, I'm not interested in that at all. I'll take that because I've got some buds here, and I'll just take the ends off there. Probably later in the year, probably in early winter, there's buds close in there. I will prune this a bit back, much closer, and the reason why it's got so leggy is basically I haven't had the chance to get around to it properly. So I'm going to go around to all these places. They're all upward buds, so everything's going to go shooting up, and I don't really want that. So it's about bringing stuff back where I've got here a nice branch that's underneath, but it's actually crossing from over here. So if you look at it, it's actually under there. So what I really should think about doing is either removing this or shortening this. And again, that's decisions I might reconsider in the winter time. For now, it actually looks like it's coming from this branch, so all I'm going to do is shorten it back. Got a couple of leaves there, but again, really, in fact, let's do that. What I actually want is those leaves to activate. So let's do what I would normally do, which is cut back all the way to those. And I'm going to go around and try and get this to get buds that come in an awful lot closer. So here we go. And again, big lengths like this, just pull off lower leaves, probably remove 2 branches, cut there. I could dip that in rooting hormone, but all I would do is plonk that anywhere where I've got a bit of soil. So I am just going to continue to cut this right back so that I can get the really tighter growth that I want. Now I don't want upward stuff right yet. I'm still trying to build the pads. So it ends up becoming quite flat at the moment. That's alright. Eventually I'll be able to get those layers a bit thicker. Oh, and if you've ever wondered why you suddenly hear the sound of water and all that sort of stuff, or dishes clanking, well, just there is the kitchen, and often you'll see my son's head bobbing all over there. There's an office over there where he'll often be doing his work. And over there is where Katrina lives, in the converted garage. Which is why you often hear loads of laughing and singing and stuff like that. So when you can't hear the birds, which actually right now you can't, which is unusual. You'll either hear Katrina, you'll hear the washing up, or you'll hear James. Whatever. That's life in the retreat. Okay, well there you go. I actually went as hard back as I said I wasn't going to go to. Taking off probably the top 4 or 5 millimeters of soil, just have a look and see if there's any dead roots, stuff like that. Cleaned out algae and moss from here, started to re-establish layers in there. Very aware that I've taken away a lot of leaf mass, and from my experience with Chinese elm, which you know I've got absolutely hundreds of, that isn't really going to be an issue. So it'll stay in definitely a shaded part of the garden for the rest of the summer. That will be fine for it. But the only thing I'm going to do at this sort of time of the year, I add a little bit of bone meal, and I find that is really good and helps set the tree up for next year. That's my first ever successful root on rock, started from a cutting. 2014? Yeah, so it's actually 10 years ago. But that's definitely possible. Right, well, that's me done for breakfast, or lunch, or dinner indeed, or whenever you're watching this. And how do I finish an episode off? Well, you never get to see the reality. I've got my weeds bucket, all the Chinese elm clippings. Need to sweep these all up. And yes, I know, hundreds of cuttings there. Sorry, I just haven't got room anymore for them. So I'll clean this lot up. If you're wondering here, normally when I'm thinking about what's coming up next, I've got different stages. Over that side of the patio will be stuff that I definitely want to get to, but isn't urgent. But slowly stuff gets transferred over here. Got this larch that's part of a series that I started last year. That needs pruning. I need to add film for that. I've got Scots pines, loads of bending wiring. I've also got a pretty successful hardwood cutting from an English elm, which is going to be part of another series. But I think for now, that's me done. So if you liked it, massive big thumbs up. If you think anyone else will, then please share, subscribe. But otherwise, enjoy your working week, enjoy your bonsai, and make sure you start each morning with a smile if you possibly can. And if you can't do it externally, try and do it internally. If that makes sense. Happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.